Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Mochibeda Vibhagine Vyomavda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Tava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshimaham Om. So is my signal okay? Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti on, because I see the image of Lin freezing here.
You're not freezing.
Okay,
You're coming across well.
okay, dokie. So we have seen a previous class the recap of Swami Paramarthananda in respect to this the structure of this chapter 9, in which the nature of God has been revealed. We know it has a higher nature, an inferior nature. The inferior nature is made up by the superimposition of the gunas of Maya, creating infinite numbers of configurations. And among the configuration, the Lord as the creator, the supreme intelligence. It says my internet is unstable here. What is this? Let me see. Let me change it here. So just a moment. No, it's okay. So if my voice begins freezing, you let me know, okay? Or cutting. We have seen that the higher nature of the Lord is identical with our nature. It's all about Nirguna Atma. Therefore, the Jiva is invited to claim its true nature as Nirguna Atma, as identical to Ishvara Atma and Brahma Atma. No? And Brahma Atma, Nirguna Atma, is Satchit Ananda. It's the existence, the non-dual existence, the non-dual consciousness, and the limitlessness of its, especially speaking, non-dual nature, limitless nature, non-dual nature. We know that to understand the nature of God is the ultimate goal of life. This has been described in this, having mentioned all of this, Swami says in the 11th verse, up to the 11th verse, from the 12th verse, Krishna categorized two types of people. The entire humanity categorized into two types of human beings. The large majority do not know that understanding of the nature of God the Creator, the true absolute nature of God the Creator, is the purpose of life. Here it say is the real destination, it's the real purpose. So the real purpose of life seems to be to create a setup, stage on which Jiva Atma interacts with all kinds of gunas configurations, until it gets to a point of understanding that all these guna objects, these media objects, do not deliver the happiness, peace, and satisfaction that every human being desires. And then sooner than later, one turns towards God to somehow to pray for help. So I'm not find satisfaction, regardless of all success I have gained in life. I need peace, I need love, I need security, I need happiness, and I don't find it in the objects of this world. So this has to be understood on a deeper, non-philosophical way, Otherwise, we are blind men looking for the black cat in the dark room in which the deck is not located. So that's a good definition for philosophy. Swami reminds us that the seventh chapter and the ninth chapter are similar. They go kind of in parallel. And but then in the last verse, Krishna, before he was talking about the ignorant people, the people who are absolutely unable to figure out that the world of objects will never going to give us Purnatvam, because Purnatvam is not there. Purnatvam is one's true nature. Purnatvam is the true nature of God. And then feeling helpless, powerless, hopeless, Jiva begins turning a journey, turning towards God, the Creator. It needs to suffer a little bit. If there is no suffering, there is no adversity, people do not take the ultimate that's journey of life, which is the life towards understanding the nature of God, so that I can understand my very nature as identical. So all these worldly things, ambitions do not fulfill. Only very rare individuals are going to understand that. Those are the lucky ones, says Swamiji. They connect the dots and they understood that there is no creation without a creator, and they understood that the creation does not supply us with true peace and happiness, much on the contrary, because the more we gain, the more we accomplish, more frustrated we are because nothing delivers, and furthermore, we remain insecure and afraid of losing everything we have gained. So only rare individuals are going to come to that level of frustration, sometimes described as the night, the dark night of the soul in some circles, So you have tried everything in the world and you're still feeling, you still experience suffering, psychological suffering, a problematic mind, an insecure mind, and so on. And then you turn towards rituals and so on. And then slowly but surely, you understand that there is no action that's going to solve your problem. Those are very, very lucky individuals that turns towards Vedanta, the Bhagavad Gita, and they begin the journey into understanding the true nature of the Creator, going all the way, not stopping into God's represented by one name and one form with certain attributes, by going all the way to Vishvarupa, God encompassing all names, forms, and attributes, all the way to the attributeless Brahman. So it does not mean that one has to abandon life, but never get stuck in those stages of life, such as a householder with family, children, job to provide. Never lose sight of your true final destination. The journey is about understand the nature of reality, which is means to say understand the nature of God, which means to say understand your very nature, because there is only God. Never lose sight of the ultimate purpose of your life. And this understanding will depend on the level of maturity, development of each individual soul. In the beginning, God is seen as a God Ekarupa, yeah? Just one of these deities with a name and a form and certain attributes. Is my personal God. It's my Easter Devata, the one that I really sympathize. Never stop there. Continue studying the scripture with the help of an acharya, because this appreciation of God, this Ekarupa, God transforms, and they understand transform, and from this Ekarupa, one will develop the understanding of a God which includes all forms, all forms. Okay. And you can, as you can guess, what is one from which includes all forms? So Dear Swami brings about the concept of form. So there is something that is supposed to include all forms, which is a circle, and either spherical or elliptical. It's a lump. So I don't quite understand this analysis here, this concept. I read it a little bit just before we began. So if you take one of these plastic rubbery thing that the children play with, and you make a lump, and then you can play with it and make several different shapes. So a lump is something more in terms of a spherical form. And we have symbols of Shiva Linga, Saligrama, and others, which are, just like an expression of a God that encompass all other forms, meaning to say something round or elliptical. So that's why the universe as well, everything you find is spherical. Therefore, Eka Rupa Bhakti gives away to Aneka Rupa Bhakti, cosmic form, not one, but the totality of all forms. That is the Vishvarupa, the vision of the Lord as the totality of all Namarupas. And if everything is included in this Vishvarupa, Ishwara, it means to say that I myself, I am included. And then if the Vedantin, if the sadhaka, the Vedika, if the Vedika survives this process without quitting or jumping out of the bus, or the train, if he survives and remains in the process, and if he assimilates this vision of Ishwara, cosmic, Virat Ishwara is another name, is a totality of the cosmos. If he learns to appreciate the Lord as everything, he still needs to not stop there and keep moving. Association to the scriptures and a Vedantic guru is going to take or help the individual to go into Shravana Manana in Dhyasana, which is going to address the true nature of the Lord, or the formless, attributeless Lord. Therefore, Aneka Rupeshwara has to move into Rupeshwara, the formless principle. This is the culmination in terms of the true nature of reality, the nature of consciousness, which is another name for existence. And if it is reality, if it is existence, must be one without a second. There cannot be anything beyond that. There cannot be anything other than that. Therefore, our journey is ekarupa to anekarupa to arupa, Ishvara. In ekarupa, as we know, we experience sort of Dvaita. We are Dvaitin, Dvaitin. We see division, we see separation between myself and the Lord. So it's clear the distinction. The Lord I see in my deity. So in Aneka Rupa Bhakti, you are still Dvaitin. You see, you are Vishita Dvaitin because the Lord is the cosmic form of the universe. And the funny thing is the devotee knows to be integral part, of this cosmic form of Ishvara, it's an integral, very small part of it. But yet, it still sees a distinction. I am this little thing, a small part of it, and Ishvara is the totality. So there is a distinction. There is no real division, but it is a sort of psychological division. I, this little thing, which am part of it, but integral part of this cosmic form of the Lord. But the Lord is vast, and I am this small, insignificant jiva. So I cannot say I am away from God because now I see God as everything, but I say I am part of God, which is still a form of Dvaita. When you come to Anekarupa, you have graduated to Vishishta Dvaitam from Dvaitam. Then when you go to Arupam, there is no even question of me being a part of Ishvara, the whole. There is an understanding that there is only the whole, and this small part is just insignificant superimposition projection produced by the gunas of Maya. So there is no question anymore of being a part. Therefore, we say that Brahman is attributeless and partless, is the whole without any parts, whereas Ishvara, as the cosmic in its cosmic expression, is a whole composed by infinite numbers of parts. Brahman is partless. Okay? It's a whole and complete principle without any parts because there is only this background, there is only this adhisthana, Everything is projected in that which is the only reality without anything other than itself, not even a small inclusion of any aspect of gunas. Not even sattva guna is allowed. Nothing enters through the customers from Mithya, from the Prakriti of Maya to Satyam, to Brahman. It's one indivisible totality, partless totality, where there is no difference between Jiva and Brahman. Arupa Brahman, Arupa Ishvara, when you come to that, you have to come to Advaita Vedanta. That is the end of the journey. Of course, this end of the journey must culminate with self-knowledge, properly assimilated, and for that we need Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Krishna says a devotee goes through all these stages. Anekarupa, so there's a lot of Sanskrit. Ekavena, refers to Arupam. Vishvara, Muktan refers to Anekarupa, refers to Ekarupa. So the trip is Ekarupa, Anekarupa, Rupa. We have seen it all. And then it takes us to the verse 16, which is a very beautiful verse, in which Krishna ji says, I alone am the ritual prescribed by the sruti. I am the ritual prescribed by the smrti. I don't know exactly. I always have difficulty to pronounce this word. Mark, you tell me the pronunciation because we need to protect Lynn's voice today.
Smrti.
Smriti. Okay.
Smrti, I think so.
So I am the ritual prescribed by the Shruti. I am the ritual prescribed by the Smriti. I am the food offered to the ancestors. I am the food of all living beings. I am the mantra. I am the fire. I am the ghee. I am the action of offering. So there is a verse. It's not on this chapter, I believe. It's an earlier chapter in which I don't know. Now I'm confused. Do you remember which is the verse in which in the Gita that appears this mantra that we do before having our meals?
It's in chapter 4. I believe it's verse 23.
Okay, chapter
I'm
4.
not
That's
exactly
what I
sure.
was having in mind. This one is a similar chapter, but that one is the one mostly. It's the best possible mantra before we have our meals because it reflects the same concept, you know. Everything is the Lord, the food is the Lord, and uh, and we have to offer this food, which is the Lord, to the Lord alone, and we do that by offering to the fire, digestive fire, you know, in our stomach. The action of offering is Brahman, so it's just finished the jiva in a way that everything is only Brahman, you know. And remembering it every time we eat something is a good sadhana. Repeating that mantra is a good sadhana. So Swami says that here Krishna classified the students in three levels based on in which way he sees the creator. Ekarupa, lowest grade, and then Madhyama in between, and Uttama, the superior. So now Krishna assumes that most of the Gita students are in the Madhyama category. Very interesting. He is going to be safe. He's not going to insult anybody. He's not going to say that most students are on the lowest stage. He's not going to say that they're in the highest. Say it's better to stay in the middle. Krishna does not assume that you are one of those highest exceptions to the rule, the highest qualified student. Arjuna and other bhaktas are usually on the intermediary level. They have learned to appreciate God in a particular form, and they are now willing to worship God as the totality of all forms. Shankaracharya did not remove the idea of superiority. So here some say that Shankaracharya makes these commentaries. We have to remember that most of these texts, our gurus such as Dayananda, Shimaya, Paramarthananda, they studied directly from the words and the rites, the text of Shankaracharya in Sanskrit. And then Shankaracharya make these commentaries to remove the idea of one deity being superior to another deity, such Shiva or Krishna or anything like that, you know, Vishnu. those are vertical deities. Never compare two deities because, as I like to put it, they are just symbols of Ishwara, the creator, Saguna Ishwara, the creator. All these deities are symbols of Saguna Ishwara, which fundamentally symbolize Nirguna Brahman. Okay? Never compare. If you feel attracted to a certain deity, just enjoy yourself. Enjoy your Ista Devata. But never compare and find that your God is superior. Krishna wants to explain and elaborate the Vishvarupa Bhakti in this verse, 4 verse. Even though a Karupa and a Rupa Bhakti also are there, Krishna chose to elaborate the middle one, the Vishvarupa Bhakti. For a simple reason, most of us, now, when we come to Vedanta, we find ourselves more or less in that intermediary stage. Even if we don't have much familiarity with the Vedic culture, it's still, we are there somehow in the middle. Now, try to understand the nature of Ishvara in between, represented by a deity and Brahman as the substratum of all deities. So in between we have this concept of Ishvara as, from my angle, from my context, I was not born in the Vedic culture. I see Ishvara as a supreme intelligence, which is superior than seeing Ishvara as one of the deities, So to see Ishvara as pure Sattvaguna, as James used to present, is a very intermediary place to be. I see God as a supreme Lord, supreme intelligence, the one that gives us the results, the one we need to be devout, and because it's the controller of this Mithya apparent order. And that is somehow where most of the Vedantins are, To move into Shravana, Manana, and Nidhyasa that address the Nirguna nature of Brahman, it's a little bit of a stretch. That's why you don't see it much in the most of the sanghas around Vedanta, because you don't find many people mature or qualified enough for that. Understand? There we may get a little more difficult to see Vishvarupa Lord in its totality of the cosmic manifestation, Virat. Yeah? And then again, another strategy is if you have difficulty to see the Lord as the totality of all name, colors, and forms, meaning to say the totality of all pair of opposites, the good and the evil, love and hate, birth and death. So if we have difficult to see God in the same way in a beautiful rose with a wonderful fragrance, as opposed to a place in which a large population of cockroaches exist, So therefore, the scriptures like to present Ishvara on its beautiful side. We know the story. We have seen it in the chapter 7 as well. That I think in chapter 7 we saw that. I don't have the memory of the sequence of all these chapters. But we either saw it recently or will see it soon. The passage in which Arjuna wants to see this Vishvarupa darshan, a vision of totality. And then once the Lord presents itself as the all pair of opposites, including the most cruel thing, the most destructive thing, the most negative thing, and then Ishwara, and then Krishna gets a little bit scared. Did we cover that part yet? Okay, then it's coming. So initially we take those beautiful, auspicious, love and compassion and the flowers and good things to appreciate, and then as we grow, we have to learn to take in also its opposites. It's not only love, but you have to take the ignorance of all jivatmas producing the experience of hate and aggression, wars, violence, destruction, cruelty, as we see in the world nowadays. We have to see all of that as well as expressions of God. Not that God is responsible, as we have seen in our last class. So Jiva is the one hold most credit for those negative tendencies developed, because the Lord gives us free will and and tells us, gives us to those with a little bit more intelligence, and this is your free will, is the power to discern, discriminate, and make choice in life. If you don't choose things in harmony with the environment and other creatures and the Creator, you will suffer. And you're going to make others suffer. If you choose things in harmony with the environment, other creatures, and the Creator, you will be happy. Because you're going to be living in harmony with the nature of God, in harmony with your environment. So, but seeing God as the beautiful, not the ugly, helps us to begin moving towards God. Otherwise, we say, no, it's not possible. I don't know if I shared with you my first wife. I got attracted to her in a moment doing a certain group. I was very young. I was maybe 18, 19. And then it was related to a church. And there the priest was giving some lecture there. And then she said, if God is so beautiful, so loving, so perfect, why he creates this mess, A world so imperfect with so much hate and suffering. So the priest did not answer, as far as I remember, but that got me to develop a relationship, get married, and have a child with that woman just because she said those words. So therefore, the scripture begins with the beautiful things, like the guru is a good saying. See the guru as an expression of God. See the elements as expression of God. See your parents, ancestrals, as expression of God, and so on. Your school, the teachers, and so on. Everything is sacred. The cow is sacred. And the rats are not sacred. That's okay at the beginning. At those days, the cow had a big role to play in society. Cow was respected, therefore it was a symbol of the Lord. It's such a backward society, the Vedic, they worship cows, but people do not have the big picture, Since rituals were predominant in those days, and everything connected with rituals, it was considered sacred as well. Krishna takes those rituals, connects things and says, all of these rituals is myself. What are they? Look at them. Because life starts with karma kanda. Yeah? So you begin doing things to get a result. You are born doing things to get results, and then you become a religious person. You enter the karma kanda, karma section of the Vedas, in which you do things to get some favorable results. On those days, people were soaked in daily rituals. Everything is God. The ritual is God. Everything is Vishvarupa Varnanam. This is the seed of Vishvarupa Varnana here, gradually. You remember the meaning of the word Varnanam, Mark? Okay.
I think it means explanation.
Thank you, my dear. What a lovely voice. You got a flu, a cold, or what?
I think it's just a cold.
Cold.
It's crazy because I haven't been sick for 20 years.
And then, just when you went there to do your cataract. Gradually, Krishna will increase the top of this Vishvarupa, nature of God. And the 11th chapter will be the climax, yes, of Vishvarupa Darshana. Very beautiful, yeah. All these are like trailers, so he's just giving a little trailer of what's coming. Okay. And here Swam says, I am the Kratuhu. Kratuhu means Shruta karma, which means rituals and prayers prescribed by the Vedas. It's said that the Vedas, all these rituals originally come from the Vedas. Vedas, as we know, is the primary scriptures. Huh? So therefore Krishna says, the Vedas nothing by myself, and the scriptures and the rituals prescribed is myself only. So the ritual is God. Here we do not say God is worshipped through the rituals. Here we say God himself is the ritual. There is no separation. It appears that we are doing, Jiva is doing things to please God, but as that mantra on the fourth chapter says, the rituals, the actions here is Brahman, offered to Brahman. In the fire of this ritual, the fire is Brahman. Everything is Brahman is the bottom line. Smrti karma means rituals and prayers prescribed by the secondary non-Vedic scriptures. Here he talks about secondary scriptures which are different from the Vedas. The Vedas are the primary, meaning to say the revealed knowledge, and the secondary scriptures, they were not originated directly from God, from Ishvara, but they were written by people, originate by human beings. These scriptures originate by human beings is called secondary scriptures. Veda has got from the Vedas, the substance, the original source is the Vedas, but they were developed from the Vedas, they extracted from the Vedas, but they are said to be secondary scriptures. So their validity is based on the Vedas. So all these smritis, Puranas, and everything is extract from the Vedas. Even Bhagavad Gita is extract by the Vedas. Is sacrosanct not because of itself, but because it was extracted from the Vedas. So Veda is sacred, is revealed teachings. That's why Krishna says, Arjuna, you should accept the Gita. Now, because I say you accept the Gita because it is based or extract from the Vedic teaching tradition. Veda means in our tradition, even superior to God. Very interesting. Veda is said to be that's even superior to God, or at least on the same level as God, because God Himself, we came to know God through the Vedas. The Vedas reveals the nature of God. So it appears that the Veda is the cause, and then we get to know God through the Vedas. The Vedas are the revealers of the nature of God. Therefore, smrti karma means rituals based on the secondary scripture literature, such as the Gita. All the Puranic scriptures, in fact, used in the festival, they come in this category. They are not Vedic, but they are they are originally based on the Vedas. And Bhagavad Gita is our best example of such a scripture. Extract from the Vedas. Vedas by itself is revealed knowledge, and Gita is a Purana written by people, but in total harmony, conformity with the teachings of the Vedas. In other words, extract from the Vedas. Svada Aham. Svada is the offerings given to the forefathers or ancestors. It's called Svada. When the Pitri rituals are done, ancestral rites are done, they give oblations and so on. When they give these offerings to devatas, they give to Pitri. It's called Svada, therefore Svada refers to offering given. So I'm not familiarized with these rituals in respect to our ancestors. Everything is Brahman. And if you offer food for your forefathers, you're offering Brahman to Brahman alone. And even the action, the act of offering is Brahman. And then Swami here says Asudha means food eaten by human beings. Asudam, the food eaten by us, because it's derived from Oshadi or plant kingdom. So again, a reminder that maybe better we stick with vegetarianism. Asudha means what? That which is born out of Oshadi, plant-based food. In those days, medicines also were called Ausadam, meaning to say the medicine was just food. Now, that is the concept I have to medicine, and that's how I try to treat my body. Prevention is to eat foods which prevents disease, not eating food that cause disease. And not only that, living a health lifestyle. And if you need to take some supplements to rebalance your physical body, your body-mind, let's say, you better take those supplements, not synthetically produced, but uh, herbs and plants produced. All root and herbal based is called medicine. That's what we see in the Ayurvedic medicine. There was a time that I used to bring loads of Ayurvedic medicines home, but ultimately the food, and if we find a good doctor that can understand the old way before the pharmaceutical industry came, took over, and began destroying all these cultures, I would say would be in good hands. According to our tradition, the real medicine is food and only food. Food, when it is properly consumed, properly means food that is good for you, and it's the same kind of food is not good for everybody. It's very complex. So you need to find food that is proper for you, and then properly consumed. It means to say in proper quantities, not too little, not too much. This can prevent disease, can cure disease. Somebody told Swamiji that in those days people used to eat food as medicine. Nowadays people eat medicine as food. As we know, some people have a handful of tablets to take morning, lunch, and dinner. So food is God. Therefore, when food comes to the table, do not take for granted, do not forget to recognize and to give thanks to God, not to bless the food, just say thank you for blessing me with this food. I used to be associated with a crazy school of enlightenment that people had such an ego that they would there for 1 minute they would bless the food. So I have the power to bless my food, so the food is going to heal my body. And James used to make much fun of it. You don't need to bless the food. The food is already blessed by the Lord, Okay. Anan is Brahma, and the nutrition which is inside the Anam, carbohydrates, protein, fat, minerals, salts, all the nutrition is referred to as Vishnu. Because Vishnu is the sustainer, maintainer, the nourisher. So Brahma projects, the universe in which it offers himself as the nutrition, as the food. And then we need another deity who is going to convert this food into nutrients. I don't remember, but there was a time I was living in Italy, which 5, 6, 7 years ago. I got into a series of talks of Swami Paramarthananda in which he explained how the food, gets converted into the first level, digestion, the second level, third level, until it is converted into energy, pranas, and so on. So the first level is the conversion into nutrition, converts into various nutrients such as protein, fat, mineral, blah, blah, blah. And then there is a further level of digestion that produce the pranic energies. And then there is a final level that converts that into sattva guna, clarity and so on. Very beautiful. I would like to listen to that again. It's somewhere there in my archives. Therefore, Brahma and Vishnu are outside. Shiva is inside. Shiva, why Shiva? Because Shiva is the one that destroys or converts the food that we eat into nutrition on different levels. So we have Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Shiva is the fire that consumes, transforms. It is not, nothing is destroyed, nothing is created. It's just a question of conversions. So Shiva is inside. Brahma and Vishnu appears as if outside. Shiva is inside. Why? Because it's symbolized by the fire in our digestive system. There is a fire there, you know. Digestive fire sometimes referred to as. So therefore, it's a good sadhana to train our minds that that Brahman is the food, Brahman is everything. Brahmachari is asked to do what? To do that. Divinization of food, divinization of everything, you know. And say, this food is God, offered to God in the fire of Vishnu. You know, we offer this to Shiva, to Vishnu, so that Vishnu can properly sustain this body. Everything you're offering to God, food you're offering to the devatas through certain rituals, regardless of the kind of rituals, if it is to our ancestors or to your Ishta Devata, you offer it in the form of eating, regular eating, all these sacred rituals. You don't need to really make an altar and give your food to them and then the insects are going to eat. No, you eat it. You say, I'm just offering this food to Vishnu so that Shiva can be satisfied and convert that into the best possible sattva guna, physical health. So it's a question of convert things into sacred rituals. And it's important to remember the mantra of the fourth chapter. You have that mantra, Lynn? That's why
I've got it here. This is a yogic version of the Gita, but it says, for him the act of offering is God, the oblation is God, by God it is offered into the fire of God. God is that which is to be attained by him who realizes God in his works.
Very beautiful. Yeah, it's on those lines, the version I have as well. And I have it in Sanskrit so that I can repeat it, the mantra in Sanskrit as well, but in English is good. Can you share that with us, please, on our group, written in English? In Chandogya, it said that when we eat our food, we should remember that we are offering the food to the digestive fire, symbolized by Vishnu, the Lord, who is inside. Therefore, it's called, now, yeah, to Shiva, yeah, who is inside. Therefore, it's called Hidral. It's a Hidral involved the fire, the digestive fire. Our eating is called in the scriptures yeah, Agni, Pragagni Hotram. So we are playing with fire. It's the rituals in Hindu national society, they involve a lot of fire, no? So fire is something that I don't quite really understand, but it's that converts, matter into ashes. In the regular Agni Hotram, the offering is done to the fire outside. But when we do that, this sacred ritual, while eating, we are offering it to the digestive fire inside of our body that is seen as Brahma, the temple of Brahma. Therefore, eating is one type of ritual, fire ritual. Therefore, some people can say I'm a regular performer of these fire rituals because we all eat regularly. We are all the time offering the food into the digestive fire, which is the Lord and the Lord alone. So what Swamiji wants to say is all the offering should go with a mantra so that we clearly remember the teachings. We clearly remember the Lord. Even before eating, you better do pranaya svaha, apanaya svaha. That mantra is also I don't know this before eating. Before eating is the mantra that we repeat, right? Yeah, that should be it. Therefore, I mean, they use a lot of ghee in the rituals in India. Okay. I'm the very fire into which the offering is done, because the fire, according to our scriptures, is one of the elements, one of the devatas, who is a courier service devata. You remember what a courier service is? Delivers things. Fire has a system of deliverance. So you offer things to this fire. You do not need to know the address. What you should do is a sincere prayer of offering. You offer where? You don't need a post box and anything. It's going to be offered to the Lord. Therefore, that fire messenger who does this delivery system is also me. And not only the messenger, not only I am the messenger God, whatever is carried by this messenger, that material is also myself. The very action of offering is myself. The action of offering is myself. It's called Havana Karma. Havana, what is the meaning of Havana? Mark, help.
I don't know. Lynn, help, please.
I think it means the invocation or the summoning.
Okay.
Agni.
Mm. Well, I want to come a kind of a ritual, yeah, an invocation. So hutan means the action of offering. Okay. Mark, are you available tomorrow for class or you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. Can I let you know in the morning sometime?
Yes. Lynn,
Okay.
are you available for class tomorrow, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay. And then we stay with the class for tomorrow, and Mark will let us know if he's going to be available or not. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay, namaste. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Orlando.
Okay. Thank you, Linda.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye now. Get well soon, Lynn.
Thank you.
Bye now.